So tell us, what happened 40 years ago? How do you two know each other?
We had a fight.
You broke up.
We met in the street.
How do you know each other?
Keith and I wrote this song after the Yardbirds split up. We used to write songs, and we eventually formed a band called Renaissance. That, you know, we went on to become like a early prog band. And one of these sort of songs we wrote was called The Line of Least Resistance. Our manager at the time, whoever he was, he says, "Oh, I get it to these guys, and they're a new band, and they're called Rain," and it was Robin's band.
Yeah, it was '69, and we haven't seen each other since then. It's the first time, and I don't really know what happened. Well, I know the producer ran off with the majority of the cash, which was normal in those days. And I'm very glad to see him again.
And we actually, Keith and I were doing something in Abbey Road Studios in London, and they were doing their song, and we just walked in, and then from then on, everyone thought we'd produced it, because we just walked in and out, you know, more or less.
And the thing about that session was, I remember Jeff Emerick was engineering it. He'd just written a biography, which is very interesting. And we used Ringo's Gretsch kit as well, which was quite kind of a... And we used the big studio there. When I was 16 years old, I think, oh, this is it. You know.
When you were in making music, it seems like technology was not really part of the process. That songwriting was, it came from the air, it came from I don't know whatever, and you were just blasting off songs right, left, and center, and not writing hits per se, but just making music. Can you talk about that time of inspiration and how songs were written and music was created?
Well, you know, I can speak for myself. I mean, I was a drummer, and I just had tunes going around in my head. I couldn't really play anything for a start. And so I used to say, oh, try this, you know, and the group would all collaborate. You know, for songwriting, we'd all put in the pot. We'd all put in our little ideas, and someone would come up with a guitar riff, and then I would say, oh, well, how about this tune? I mean, yeah, for instance, over on the Sideways Down, we were travelling to a gig one night in our wagon or bus or whatever, and we heard this show of old rock and roll. I think it was Paul Raven. Do you remember him?
Yeah, sure.
On the radio? He used to play great old rock and roll stuff, you know, American 50s and 60s, and we heard Bill Haley, Rock Around the Clock. We said, oh, that was a great record, we must do something like that. So next time we went in the studio, we did this boogie, boom, 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 boom. And then, you know, I think I thought of a tune to go over it, and then we said, oh, let's write something about the 60s, how mad it is. So we started thinking of words, and cars and girls are easy come by in this day and age. Laughing, joking, drinking, smoking, till I spent my wage. And we went on, and then we thought, well, we're a bit stuck on the chorus line, you know, and that was the thing that took the time. So we eventually came up. Someone said, what about over, under, sideways, down? So that's how that song came about. You know, we all put in our little bits. And, after that time, I taught myself guitar and piano in order to write songs. But
this is, let's call it a team building event, and I think that the process of writing songs is all about either team building or team breaking, I guess. Can you talk about the way that you write with people and how it usually works?
There's just one guy, Jim, who was part of the writing team on this group with Bernie Taupin that we had. His name was Jim Cregan, who would, we come up with an idea, we come up with the melody and the structure of the song, and then he would take it apart, literally, you know, like every single little melody, everything, you know, switch the choruses around, change this and change that. And, and I knew what the outcome is always, if it's not broke, don't fix it, you know. And so if you have an idea, you know, something that touches you or gives you tingles on the back of your neck, you know it works, you know. Well, I used to do this a lot with him. That's just something I just learned to do because I knew what Jim was like. He's going to go, let's take this apart. But you know, when it's right, it's right. And if it does need some work, then you obviously work on it. But for the most part, you just know, you have a feeling, this is good like this. Let's not change it.